So it's time for the next episode of our bikepacking training planning process. That's quite a mouthful. So we use an example of a short bikepacking event of a bit less than a week. And what I like to do with bikepacking type training plans is to gradually increase the intensity by using tempo training. So once you've done a few weeks of training to get yourself used to the routine, and you'll remember from last time that you can see on the screen that we had some tempo work actually in the last period of training. I should say that if you haven't watched my video on tempo training, it might be worth watching that before you watch this video, just to give you a little bit more of a background of my philosophy and what it's all about. But if you're familiar with tempo training and you do a lot of it, then carry on, and I'm sure you'll pick it all up. It's not particularly complicated, as you know. Training for endurance sport isn't so much about doing complicated training. There aren't any magic sessions. It's all about showing up, doing the training, and watching your fitness improve. So the reason I like to build in tempo work is because it's a nice way of introducing structured interval type training into the week, and it's also a nice way of getting used to intensity. You have to be a bit careful with tempo because it's quite easy to do too much. Because it's not really hard. It's actually quite easy to go harder than the specified training tempo zone, and if you do that, you can pay for it. So it's much better. You have to be very careful to try and stay within your tempo zone, your training zone 3 if you're using a 5-zone model, or just between your endurance zone and your FTP, your anaerobic threshold, is the tempo zone. So keeping it within that zone and not pushing too hard is really important. And obviously also don't do too much of it. You need to build up gradually. So as if you've been following the plan for the first 3 weeks, we'll have built up to 3 by 20 minutes. So that's an hour of tempo training once a week. And then we're going to increase it now. We've changed the weekly structure a little bit. So that gives us 2 tempo training sessions per week, which you can do as scheduled here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or what you can do is, if you don't have time to do them during the week, you could swap your long ride to a Sunday and do a tempo session on Saturday, and that works quite nicely, and that's a format that I use for a lot of the athletes that I coach. It has the added benefit, it makes the Sunday ride a bit harder, but it has the added benefit of giving you 2 back-to-back days, which are introducing some fatigue that you carry over into your long ride, which is obviously relevant as you go into things that are more specific to bikepacking events. So what we're doing is we're building these 2. Now we've got more. You're doing more volume at this given tempo intensity, and we're going to build up the distance, the duration that you spend at your tempo training zone. Have a little bit of break over Christmas before you start the extra training sessions, and then go into the next 3 weeks of training, which will take you towards the end of January. We'll probably then have another easier week, and then we might start introducing some threshold training work, and obviously I'll introduce that as we get closer to that. So we haven't built up the actual duration of tempo very much per workout. It's still quite similar to previously, but now you're doing 2 sessions per week at that level. And remember, it's a long time to your event, so it's actually a good idea to build things gradually. If you want to do a bit more overall volume, then that's good, but do it as an endurance training. And the other thing is that I've included a week between Christmas and New Year for the Festive 500. If you're not doing the Festive 500, the Strava 500, then do another week similar to the first week of the next block. So that would be doing the week that's planned for the beginning of the 10th of January over between Christmas and New Year, or if you're busy with other commitments, then just do what you can, but don't worry too much about it. Having a good time over Christmas is not going to have an impact on your performance in the goal event, because that's a long time in the future. Just try and be consistent, don't overindulge too much, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.